Students try to get their records, you might be surprised to know that no one is tracking teachers. The law change that went into effect this year made it mandatory for students and daycare workers to either prove their immunity to the MMR vaccine or show their exemption certificate, but teachers were left out of this law change. Now, we called several school districts, including Issaquah High School, that had a measles case last year. And it seems no one is tracking teachers because it's not mandated by the state. When we talked to the Washington Education Association, they said that we would have to call every single district in the state to get an idea of the local policy involving teachers. And when I called the state health department, they said there wasn't a real incentive for schools to keep track since it's not mandated. Seattle Public Schools, like many others, encourage vaccinations, but there's just no push to track teachers or staff.
Things like that have been talked about, but we don't have a policy in place, and it doesn't, in the foreseeable future, doesn't look like we're going to have one.
Now, that was Tim Robinson from Seattle Public Schools. He says if there was an outbreak, the county would have the right to exclude teachers or staff and ask for proof of immunity. Most teachers are likely vaccinated, by the way. Health officials highly encourage people to get vaccinated if they work around children or young people, but you just can't know the numbers for sure because there's no mandate to track it. If it's something that is concerning to you, then you might want to talk to your school board members. Back to you.